Imagine waking up tomorrow, grabbing your phone, and realizing every single digital profile you own has just been permanently erased.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. Like no photos, no followers, no search history, no curated feeds, just gone.
Total blank slate.
Exactly. For a moment, you would probably feel this, spike of absolute panic, like a sort of existential vertigo.
Oh, absolutely.
But the text we are diving into today actually suggests that this terrifying, unmoored moment might be the first time you've actually existed in years.
Yeah, because it forces a confrontation, right? A confrontation with the defining question of our era. I mean, modern life has completely externalized our sense of being.
It really has.
We live in this state where identity isn't a private internal experience anymore. It's this highly visible, relentlessly measured public performance.
Which perfectly sets up what we are doing today. We are dissecting this brilliant piece of writing called Ancient Wisdom for the Digital Identity Crisis.
It's such a fascinating read.
It really is. And the entire mission of this deep dive is to, cut through all that noise, the engagement metrics, the algorithm-driven personas, all of it. We want to answer one vital question for you. Who are you really beneath all those digital masks?
And the text takes a really unexpected approach here. It doesn't look to Silicon Valley for the cure to this modern disease. It actually looks backward, way backward.
Right, to the Upanishads.
Exactly. These are the ancient philosophical texts of India, composed thousands of years before a smartphone was even like a spark of an idea.
Okay, let's unpack this, because reading this immediately made me realize just how much battery power we waste running this background anxiety.
Oh, totally.
It's like we're all juggling these fragile glass balls in front of a massive audience. It's exhausting, it's stressful, and if the audience stops clapping, we just drop everything. We carry around this silent question all day. How am I being perceived?
Constantly.
And it made me wonder, did the internet actually invent this existential dread, or did it just hand us a massive megaphone for our oldest human insecurities?
It's the megaphone. Technology is simply the amplifier. I mean, the sages who wrote the Upanishads were obsessed with this exact crisis of meaning.
Wait, really? Thousands of years ago?
Oh, yeah. The fundamental architecture of the human mind hasn't changed at all. We still suffer from the same fears of irrelevance, the same desperate need to belong,
So the tech just exploited what was already there.
Exactly. What's different today is just the sheer scale of it. We have built an entire infrastructure that weaponizes those vulnerabilities 24/7.
Man, weaponizes is the right word. Well, to understand the cure, we have to look at how the text diagnoses the disease. And the primary symptom of our digital age is fragmentation.
Right.
I mean, I won't bore you with the obvious. We all know we act differently on a professional LinkedIn profile than we do on, say, an anonymous forum.
We're totally different people.
Right. We split into an Instagram self, an opinionated X self, a professional self. But the deeper issue the text points out is that we are treating our lived experiences as mere content. We've essentially turned the human self into a corporate brand.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the Upanishads actually anticipated this trap. They have this foundational concept called Maya.
Maya.
Yeah. And Maya is commonly translated as illusion, but that translation kind of misses the nuance. It isn't claiming the physical world is literally fake.
Okay, so it's not like the Matrix.
Not exactly.
Oh.
Maya is more like a psychological glitch in the human operating system. It is our tendency to mistake appearances for ultimate reality.
So is Maya basically the ancient version of an Instagram filter, just distorting reality but convincing us it's the truth?
That is a perfect way to look at it, yes.
But I'm struggling with that a bit, honestly, because if you or I spend 10 to 12 hours a day living inside this performance, working on screens, texting on screens, dating on screens, doesn't the performance inherently become our reality?
Well,
Like if I'm swimming in the ocean all day, the water isn't an illusion, it's just where I live.
I hear you. But think about the mechanics of a casino. The flashing lights, the lack of clocks, the chips that don't actually look like real money. That entire environment is designed to distort your perception of value and time.
Oh, wow.
The digital world operates on that exact same premise. When you spend 12 hours a day immersed in it, your brain becomes chemically dependent on its feedback loops.
So we get hooked on the chips.
Precisely. A drop in followers or a lack of likes triggers a genuine cortisol release in your nervous system. You experience physical stress because you have mistakenly attached your actual survival, your worth, to a temporary digital projection. You've mistaken the casino chips for your soul.
Wow. So you're saying Maya today is basically this algorithmically generated distortion field. It convinces us that the reflection in the funhouse mirror is our actual face.
And that causes profound suffering because you start shaping your personality based on what goes viral.
Yeah.
You literally outsource your self-esteem to the crowd.
And the crowd is fickle.
Exactly. Public attention is inherently unstable. It will inevitably abandon you.
Which brings me to a wall I hit while reading the text. Because if identifying with this digital performance, this Maya, is what's making us so anxious and exhausted, what is the alternative?
That's the big question.
Right. Honestly, if I strip away my opinions, my social standing, my job title, my curated profiles, it feels like there's literally nothing left. It just feels like a void. What is actually there?
Well, the Upanishads refer to what remains in that void as the Atman. And discovering it is arguably one of the most radical psychological shifts a person can make.
The Atman.
Yeah. The text defines the Atman not as your ego, not as your personality quirks, and certainly not your social status. The Atman is the eternal essence of consciousness itself. It is the silent witnessing awareness that just watches your life happen.
So what does this all mean? Let me try to put this in an analogy. Tell me if I'm tracking.
Let's hear it.
It's like assuming you are the movie playing on the screen, the drama, the tragedy, the plot twists. But the Upanishads are telling you that you are actually the screen itself. The movie changes, but the screen remains.
That analogy holds up perfectly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the movie changes constantly. The text points this out beautifully. I mean, your physical body ages, your emotions fluctuate from hour to hour, your deeply held beliefs evolve.
And digital trends vanish overnight.
Right. But the awareness that observes those changes happening, that screen, it remains entirely untouched. And this leads to the most famous declaration in the Upanishads. Tat Dhamasi, which translates to, thou art that.
Thou art that. Meaning, you are not the movie, you are the screen.
You are the fundamental consciousness from which everything arises. Your identity isn't this fragile construct you have to defend on the internet every day.
Man, just hearing that is a relief.
Imagine the immediate psychological freedom it offers. If you're not your changing opinions or your follower count, you're completely insulated from the fear of irrelevance. Society can praise you today and completely cancel or forget you tomorrow, and your deepest essence hasn't been diminished by a single fraction.
Okay, but knowing that conceptually is one thing. Applying it feels almost impossible. I mean, even right now, as you're listening to this deep dive, you probably have a browser tab open or a phone sitting face up on the desk, subconsciously waiting for a notification to validate your existence.
Most people do.
So how does a person actually experience this silent witnessing awareness when their brain is actively hijacked by the attention economy?
Well, you have to understand how the digital economy works. It only functions by extracting your engagement. And the most efficient way to do that is by triggering your amygdala.
The fear center.
Right. The algorithms prioritize fear, outrage, insecurity, and desire because those emotions compel immediate reaction. Modern consumer culture basically engineers perpetual dissatisfaction.
Because if you feel complete, you stop scrolling.
You stop scrolling and you stop buying.
Right. You wake up, and before you even have a chance to observe your own natural thoughts, you just flood your brain with external stimuli, constant notifications.
And the ancient sages understood this biological reality perfectly, which is why they retreated to the forests.
To get away from the notifications of their era.
Exactly. They didn't do it because they despised society. They did it because they needed to physically separate their awareness from the noise. In silence, you can actually watch a thought arise, exist for a moment, and pass away without getting swept away by it.
And there's a vital distinction the text makes here, right? Modern culture explicitly trains us to fuse our identity with our thoughts. Like, we literally point to a political reaction or a cultural opinion and declare, this is who I am.
Yes, we identify with the thoughts.
But the Upanishads argue that thoughts are just temporary movements within consciousness. They aren't the essence of it. Like, you are the sky, not the storm.
That's a great way to put it. Once you stop identifying with every random thought or fleeting emotion, your reactivity plummets. You can observe an outrageous headline designed to make you angry, feel the biological pull of that anger, and simply choose not to engage.
You just step out of the machinery.
Exactly, you step out.
But wait, I have to push back on how this is actually applied today, because we hear about mindfulness and meditation everywhere, but it's almost always packaged as a productivity hack.
Oh, the corporate mindfulness train.
Yeah, you know the drill. Meditate for 10 minutes so you can crush your quarterly sales goals, or do a digital detox this weekend so you can get back to building your personal brand on Monday.
Aren't we just hijacking profound ancient wisdom to serve the exact capitalist digital machine it was supposed to free us from?
What's fascinating here is the stark difference between modern self-improvement and ancient self-realization. You're describing self-improvement, which is often just optimizing the ego so it can perform better inside the illusion, inside Maya.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, true self-realization in the Upanishads fundamentally rewires your motivation.
Walk me through the mechanics of that rewiring. How does it actually change behavior?
It changes the origin point of your actions. Because the goal isn't to abandon technology. The Upanishads aren't anti-progress. The goal is discernment.
Discernment. Yes. When you source your identity from that silent awareness, your actions become an expression of consciousness rather than a cry for validation. You might still use social media, you might still launch a business, but you aren't doing it to prove you exist.
Right, because you already know you do.
Exactly. You're acting from a place of unshakable internal stability. And we actually see this backed up in modern neuroscience now.
Wait, really? In what way?
Yeah. When you constantly obsess over your social status or worry about the past and future, your brain activates something called the default mode network, or the DMN.
Okay, the DMN.
And an overactive DMN is highly correlated with stress, anxiety, and depression. But when you shift into that state of pure present moment awareness, when you become the witness rather than the ego, the DMN literally powers down.
That is incredible.
So this ancient philosophy isn't just a nice metaphor. It's essentially a manual for downregulating a stressed nervous system.
And if returning to that root operating system heals our own internal anxiety, it has to completely change how we view the external world too. Let's look at the loneliness epidemic. Because technology has given us this very shiny illusion of connection, but it's totally stripped of actual intimacy.
It's just the illusion of connection. Screens inherently mediate our relationships. They create this physical and psychological distance.
Right.
And that distance is what makes online cruelty and dehumanization so effortless. You aren't processing the micro-expressions of a human being. You're just attacking an avatar.
Because it's just data on a screen to you.
Right. But if we return to the Upanishadic principle of fundamental unity, the idea of tat tivamasi, that the exact same foundational consciousness exists in all beings, then compassion ceases to be just a nice moral obligation. It becomes the only logical response to reality.
Because you're them.
Exactly. You realize that attacking another person is literally attacking a different expression of the exact same awareness.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because if modern society is just reducing us to measurable data points for algorithms, that leads to a terrifying realization about artificial intelligence.
Ooh, the AI question.
Yeah. Social platforms already reduce us to measurable behaviors. They track our hover times, our clicks, our purchasing habits to predict our next move. If a large language model can eventually ingest my emails, my tweets, my search history, and perfectly simulate my personality, doesn't that prove the Upanishads were right all along?
How do you mean?
That our personality was never our true self to begin with. It was just a mechanical process, an algorithm.
Yes. Take that a step further. If a machine can flawlessly replicate your personality, then your personality cannot possibly be the ultimate truth of who you are.
Wow.
The sages drew a very hard line between the mind and consciousness. The mind is a processing engine. It simply processes information. It calculates, it reacts to stimuli, it organizes historical data to predict future outcomes.
Like an algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A highly advanced AI does exactly that.
So the human mind is basically just a biological, predictive text generator.
In many ways, yes. But consciousness, that silent witnessing awareness that actually experiences the data, that cannot be coded. It cannot be reduced to inputs and outputs.
That distinction is huge.
It's vital. As we move deeper into an era where AI can fake human thought, fake human art, and fake human connection, inner awareness is no longer just a spiritual luxury. It is an absolute psychological survival requirement. Power without wisdom leads to imbalance and systemic collapse.
Yeah.
You can have access to the sum total of human information in your pocket and still be completely devoid of self-understanding.
Man.
Yeah.
And if AI is forcing us to reevaluate what our minds actually are, technology is also completely warping our perception of time.
Oh, constantly.
We are always trapped in a fabricated future. We're anxiously anticipating the next trend, the next geopolitical disaster, the next notification, or we are trapped in the past, curating our digital archives.
Which means our nervous systems are living in time zones that don't actually exist. The Upanishads counter this modern acceleration by emphasizing the eternal now.
Just being present.
Right. Reality does not unfold in your mental projections. It only ever exists in the present moment. By constantly shifting your attention away from the present, technology robs you of the only place where life actually happens.
And the text makes a really profound point about how this ties into our fear of mortality. Because if your entire identity is wrapped up in things that are subject to time, like your physical appearance, your cultural relevance, your career, then the passage of time is essentially a death sentence.
Yes. You will spend your whole life terrified of failing or becoming obsolete.
But if you root your identity in the Atman, in that eternal awareness, the fear of death and irrelevance loses its grip.
Completely. You realize that the forms will always change. Civilizations rise and fall. Technologies emerge and become obsolete. Your own body will age. But the consciousness that serves as the foundation for all of it is entirely untouched by time.
So, bringing this all back to you, the listener, the infrastructure of the modern digital age is entirely engineered, both technologically and financially, to externalize your attention, to make you care desperately about that reflection in the funhouse mirror.
They profit off of it.
They really do. But the ultimate hack to surviving the burnout, the endless comparison, and the sheer anxiety of modern life is to move inward. You have to actively remember, you are not the mask you wear online. You are not the curated image other people perceive. And you are not the noisy stream of thoughts running through your head. You are the silent, infinite, unchanging awareness beneath all of it.
And discovering that space within yourself is really the truest, most durable form of freedom available to us today.
It really is. And I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder, building on everything we've just discussed about the illusion of the digital world and the rise of AI.
Let's hear it.
If our current platforms are already acting as such a powerful form of Maya, a distortion field that fragments our identities and hacks our nervous systems, what happens in 5 or 10 years when immersive virtual realities become completely indistinguishable from physical life?
That's a wild thought.
Right. Will these flawless, simulated digital worlds become the ultimate, inescapable trap for human consciousness? Or, if we manage to carry this ancient wisdom with us into those spaces, could a globally connected virtual mind actually become a tool to help us experience that fundamental underlying unity, the Tat Tivam Asi that the Upanishads spoke of thousands of years ago?